Okay. Hi, guys. We
Welcome
missed ya.
back.
We have, I feel like, a lot to catch up on today. A lot of different things that we wanted to catch up on. A lot of questions we've gotten from people about, I think now that we're filming, people are just interested in what it's like on a marriage and like how it feels to be in the public eye and questions that we get. And I mean, it's definitely challenging. And I think it's such a test of whether a marriage could, like if a marriage can get through reality TV, it's a really strong marriage. But on the other hand, I feel like if a marriage had cracks in it to begin with, like reality TV just makes those cracks even more glaring and like you almost can't avoid looking at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd phrase it a little differently because every marriage has some cracks. And I think what being in the public eye, especially on a reality show, does is you're right. It forces those cracks to be examined. And then it's like working out. It's like, are you going to rebuild the muscle fiber and get stronger, or is it going to destroy? Mm-hmm. And it's definitely a pressure tester.
Yeah, I know.
Some of these questions that we got are pretty interesting.
Okay. Want to ask them?
Yeah, I'll start. Let's see. Have you ever had a fight right before going live/filming and had to flip the switch?
Yes. Literally it just happened.
Yeah.
We were in the Hamptons. We were filming a scene and I don't even know. I honestly don't remember what the fight was about because I feel like in marriages, like long marriages especially, you just fight about stupid shit.
Yeah, that is 100%.
And it was like down to like, I think we had gotten to the driveway and we were like, are we going to be like this right now? And it was such a dumb fight that we were like, okay, like we both said our piece. We had to both say our piece and then we moved on from it. I think that's the key. It's like not even just obviously with filming. It's like if you're going to dinner with friends and you haven't at least each said your piece, you're going to be passive aggressive with each other at the dinner.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to make sure, just even if like you don't fully resolve it, you just say how you feel, both of you, before you get to the event that you're trying to be normal at.
I think it goes to the larger art of fighting concept where you're right. You might not resolve it right then, but you develop a mutual respect of hearing each other out and reminding yourself, okay, this isn't that big of a deal. Like it's a stupid fight. It's not worth bleeding in, especially when you're filming on a TV show, they're capturing it, right? And if you allow that to creep in, like it's documented.
But I think I actually think that that's fine. Like we've had tiffs that weren't resolved and then we went into filming and then they were magnified. And the problem with that is that people judge it. So like, I think what you did was actually really healthy. That fight we got into at Serendipity was like about so much more than what it seemed to be. So like people were commenting after that episode, which this happens a lot, I feel like with like the show where people will comment and be like, oh, blah, 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 but they don't know all the things behind the scenes, even if it could be with another cast member or like whatever feelings that you may have. But you were like, Erin, you looked like a bitch in that episode and nobody's going to know why. And that's why we talked about like the whole Bitcoin thing and like all the resentment and whatever. And I thought that was cool of you. I was like, okay, like this is your penance. Good. You want to do this. But like, I also think that a lot of times, like in marriages, and obviously this isn't just like for reality TV. This applies to everything. But it's like, if you're not in tune or if you're not communicative, that kind of thought where it's like, no one's going to understand why you're mad. Like, let's talk about it. Doesn't even come to the forefront of mind. Like you and I work on our communication. And that's really important to us. But the other thing is like, I was at dinner last night. I went to a dinner to support Melissa Gorga. She had like a brand that she's, been working with. And I was sitting with these girls that she's been friends with for years and like her cousin's friends. They're all like my age, 38. One of them was 40. And they were telling me about how they've been with their husbands since like one of them since she's 15.
Wow.
Like literally since she's 15 years old. And And she was like, I like watching you guys because I feel like you guys are really friends and like you've been together forever, but also like sometimes you fucking hate him. And I'm like, exactly. Like sometimes you're just going to hate your husband.
It goes both ways.
I'm sure. Yeah. But more.
But men can't show that it's like a husband on these shows.
I'm not talking about the show. I'm talking about in general.
Oh, yeah.
But it's more women hate their husbands.
That's true. Men get annoyed with their wives, but are usually more tolerant and just will move on.
But men are also just much more irritating and much more, yes.
No way.
Yes, because it's just true. Like men are just dumber and just more irritating than women. So of course, women are going to get more frustrated with their husbands. Like, that's just how it goes.
I don't think that's the reason. I think women just allow themselves to be a little more irrationally emotional about their feelings about their husbands. Men, I think, are more rational and like, what's the point? Like, it is what it is.
No. You guys are just annoying.
Let's take today, for example. So
I misplaced all of my
stressed out
rings. I'm stressed right now.
She
can't find any of my rings.
Last night, her engagement ring,
all
diamond rings, they're definitely in the house.
I hope.
We know this. But I had to look for an hour today in my morning. I was annoyed, but I'm not like, oh, I hate Aaron for making me do this. But imagine the situation will reverse. Be honest. What would your reaction be if you had to look for an hour for like my watch? And if I made you do it, you wouldn't even do it.
I didn't make you do it. You were helping me find it.
Okay.
I was taking the kids to school.
No, but obviously I'm going to do it because I knew it'd stress you out. So sure, you didn't force me to do it, but obviously I'm going to do it. I don't know if you'd do that for me. It would look for an hour for my watch.
I would help you look for your watch.
But like for an hour?
You didn't look for an hour.
Yes,
no, you did not.
Absolutely. Before when the kids were getting ready for school.
I was taking the kids to school so that you didn't have to take them to school. I was taking them to school. I did the morning thing that Elijah had at his school. I did that.
No, I'm not discounting that. My point is, what would your reaction be if I couldn't find
you're a fucking idiot?
And you'd like hate me a little bit.
I wouldn't hate you. I would just be annoying.
Like,
and you're annoyed with me too.
But the difference in like the magnitude of annoyance, I think women just get more magnified annoyance with their husbands than men do with their wives.
Because you're not in touch with your emotions the way we are.
I think it's because men are and are just more.
Not all. We're generalizing right now, but
I love generalizing.
But anyway, I am stressed about. I don't misplace many things. My phone and jewelry.
By the way, you know this.
My phone is always gone.
I feel like this is such a common dynamic where women lose their phones. Like your mom is the same way. I know a lot of.
I don't know what is that.
I don't know. I think subconsciously you want to make us feel useful. Maybe I don't know. But
what
the trick?
Yeah, because you're useless without that.
I'm useless.
Exactly.
The trick is getting inside the psychology of you. So it's like, okay, normally you wash your face before bed and do your routine.
I know, and that's what I can't figure out. It's like I washed my face. I know I washed my face before bed. I remember that. I don't think I would have my rings on while I was washing my face. I took off all my necklaces and put them in my jewelry case, but my rings aren't there. So where?
And the rings are grouped together.
There's a bunch of them. My pinky ring, this side ring, like all of them. So where could they be? I do not remember.
We have to dive deep into your psychology of last night. It'll come to us. We'll find it.
I better.
Don't worry. But
anyway, it's stressful. Stressful to be a woman.
That I'll agree with. I think it is. But the whole being married in public eye thing, it's just such an interesting thing to think about. For me, at least, it's not something that was on my life bingo card, being married to somebody who's on like a well-known franchise with the Housewives. But you see all of these things in the news, pop culture news, where if somebody's getting divorced or there's a big breakup or scandal, it's just everywhere. And I think that's the pressure, especially going into this for the first time, of like, how is this going to affect our marriage?
Yeah.
And
then you think about the kids, like we definitely don't pressure our kids to be on the show. Obviously, it's like we always say to them, as little or as much as you want. Like, you guys get to decide. But then I told you this, but we were filming in the Hamptons, and like Levi said something, and I was like, are people going to take this the wrong way? And I think that the thing with reality TV is that because you open up your life and it's like completely unfiltered and it's like just so much of it, people feel like they can respond in kind. So it's like, well, everything's on the table, so there's nothing off the table. I can say whatever I want to you, as though there's like zero boundary. But it's like, I think what people forget is there's so much more that happens off. I mean, we're not on the real world. The cameras aren't up in our house 24/7. Like, there's other things that happen.
Be watching it 24/7. It's always going to be edited,
right?
Which has
so
to be. It's
just like
format.
So like, even if there are feelings that you have about other people on different shows, it's like there's reason behind these feelings that are beyond what people see. And I think that's what's really challenging, because you kind of live in two worlds. You live in the world of the show, and then you live in the real world, which is like your real feelings, your real emotions,
Well, I mean,
they're like the same.
They're the same. It's just one is, one is filtered, not because it's not authentic, but because
it has to be. Like, how can it? You're not going to watch like a Truman Show about housewives.
It's such a strange thing, because the whole point of reality TV is there is a connection that the audience feels with the cast members of the shows.
Yeah.
That's the point of it. You need that. You want that.
Yeah.
And that's why it pays to be authentic. I mean, we've talked about this a million times. You could tell when somebody's being performative, and I think the audience can sense that. So there's this level of authenticity that is required to have some success in this world. And in terms of marriage, the same thing applies. The crazy part about it is, for me, is it's like with the Bitcoin thing, right? All these articles that come out, and that's just one example, is there's the show, it's the social media comments. That alone, people will have their opinions and their judgments, which are rooted in only what they see. They're not getting the full picture. There's that, and then there's the articles where
that's like
people are making wild assumptions. And then
it's like he's cheating on you.
Right.
And I think that's the difference, right? It's like, I don't have that fear, but if someone did, and people were saying that, and that noise was there, it's like, well, then what? Like, how do you deal with that? Like, how do you, like, it's there. People keep saying it to you. Is there truth to it? Like, you start to spiral.
I mean, thankfully we have a healthy marriage and a strong marriage. I can't imagine what it's like when you do have somebody splitting up that's very public, and you see, both parties involved going on these social media campaigns, essentially trying to curry favor on their side. And that to me is scary when that kind of thing happens, because then it's competing for public attention.
No, people don't really do that. I mean, I guess like with Mormon wives, that whole drama, there's like a lot of like social media stuff and like support on both sides. That whole thing is fucking crazy. This girl was dating this guy, and then they had a baby, and they had like a very toxic relationship, and she was about to be on The Bachelorette. And then they actually pulled The Bachelorette because this like old video surfaced from a police report when she got arrested for domestic violence, because she like threw a chair at him and the kid was present, and it went viral.
Oh God.
I know. But apparently this was all set up. I mean, it is a little strange that the video came out like years later, right? Like, why wouldn't it come out before that? And they had been back and forth.
News cycle makes money.
And apparently, according to things that I've heard from sources that know these people well, he's been like a very, very toxic person in her life. And he drove her to behave that way. And like he's cheated on her a lot. So I mean, like, you don't really ever know. But that shit is really scary when like you're both in the public eye. You have all this like drama between the two of you. And then it's like, there's like ammo like years later that can be, and like her career was about to catapult. It was about to be, I mean, the biggest, I mean, also I can't imagine that they don't ever release this show because that must have cost, I mean, it's like millions of dollars that they're going to lose.
But I don't
People were
understand.
dying
Why
to see
would
her as a bachelorette because it was like a very graphic video of her like throwing a chair. The kid was present.
How old was the kid?
Like a baby.
Like a baby?
I don't know, a couple of years.
Oh, so like
She was like
conscious.
crying and like apparently like touched the kid, like what she threw. I don't know. I haven't like fully watched it, but like it was bad. It was bad.
That, that's another point, which is the digital memory is forever. And if
Everything is recorded now.
everything's recorded,
Everything is recorded.
I mean, we're fortunately, we don't usually act like idiots in public, right? Like we're out together, but some people do. And
Well, I'm sure we've acted like idiots in public.
yeah, but not,
Well, because we're not like throwing chairs at each other. We've thrown shit at each other.
no, not we at each other.
I've thrown shit at you.
Let's just be very clear.
You don't want that out there? No, you've never thrown anything at me.
Never thrown anything at
No,
you.
but I've thrown things at you.
Yes, you have.
Yeah.
There's some fuego.
Deserved it.
Probably,
Yeah.
maybe.
No, deserved it.
But when that stuff's public,
But not a chair.
no.
I mean, that's like, I mean, if that hit him in the head, who knows what could, like,
I know.
a chair is legit. Also, she's probably pretty strong. She should pick up a chair and throw it.
Unless the chair was like a light.
It probably was like a little bitch chair and he's making it into a bigger, I don't know.
I don't know.
But it's like, it's so insane that these are like, it's like these little moments. I mean, everybody's had moments in behind closed doors with their significant other that they don't want anyone to see.
And nor is it anybody's business.
And it's like not fair that like this young couple like that have had a toxic relationship, gone back and forth, have a kid together. It's like, I don't actually think it's fair to her that this gets released right when like she was at the Oscars, she was about to be the Bachelorette. Like it's just not fair.
I agree with you. I think a lot of people think just because you're on reality TV that there's license that you owe them your full life, right?
Yeah.
And that's just not true. And that's not a fair expectation at all. Yes, you make the choice to be on reality TV. You are signing up to share your life publicly. But that doesn't mean
all of it.
All of it.
Exactly.
People are still entitled to their privacy.
Yeah.
And when the audience expects more than that, they could be out for blood when this kind of stuff comes out. And this is the other problem. When these scandals come out, right?
Oh my God, like Summer House.
Yeah, like the Summer House thing.
Lindsay's gearing up.
That kind of thing is consumed. Like people become obsessed with that drama. And so that just like at the end of the day, it drives views. So of course publications are going to write stories about it. Of course it's going to circulate on the social blogs. And
yeah, but I'll say with this particular situation, and it's like weird to talk about it because like obviously I know these people and
you're right.
I'm friends with them, but like it was really upsetting. Like it's really upsetting to watch two friends who are actually really close friends have that kind of like mistrust happen for over a guy. Like it's a tale as old as time. It's happened to everybody. Everyone knows someone in high school. It's happened to me in high school. Like everybody knows a story like this, but it usually happens in high school or in middle school. Like you outgrow that kind of behavior. And I think that's the problem. It's like you're watching these reality stars on TV in their 30s and they're doing shit that people do in high school. It's like, how do you not know better than to like fuck over your best friend for a guy? It's like that, I think, is why viewers are just so charged up about it, because it's like, those are lessons you learn in high school. Why have you not learned those lessons and grown?
Well, especially when you know that eventually shit like that will get out and you're in the public eye. Like, what do you think is going to happen?
Like, what do you think is going to happen? And it's like, maybe people don't care, which like, I'm not judging either, because it's like, okay, like maybe the relationship was so strong you couldn't help yourself. Fine. Okay, let's just play the devil's advocate, but have a conversation. And like, again, that's what I think separates someone from an adult and a child. Like, you are in your 30s. You guys can have conversations about like, hey, I'm feeling this way. I know this is really awful and probably like not right. And you're probably going to hate me, but I have to be honest. People would respect that so much more. Like the way it's not only like the act, but it's also the way the act was like uncovered, like by accident. That's a problem.
I agree. It's a problem. It's hard because I really don't judge people. I have opinions, but I don't judge because you don't know what kind of, in this case, emotional
connection. God, I'm sorry. Can we just do a pause? Because I just got this picture from our nanny. Wait, he's like a
huge.
He's like a kid. Little poopsie.
God, he's so cute.
Hey, kid. That's gonna be my new screensaver. Okay, sorry. I will.
I don't tend to judge people. I can have opinions. I don't think it's fair to judge people without knowing everything. But my opinion on doing stuff like that, knowing you're in the public eye, knowing that it's going to come out. I mean, it's just among anything else, obviously fucking your friend over, not cool. When their spouses or ex-spouses involved, that has effects on that. And if situations like that, if they're kids, it's even worse. I mean, we've seen a lot of Bravo celebrities split and their kids involved. And I mean, that's sad to watch. But it's bad for business. It's like, doing those things will hurt your business.
I mean,
that's how I think about it. I think about the emotional stuff too.
But I don't know. I'm thinking like, as like a girlfriend, it's like sometimes you just have to rip the Band-Aid off and just be honest before it catches up, because it always does. It always the truth always catches up.
Yeah,
it just does.
I
believe that.
There's a difference too about being. This is my opinion. There's a difference between being a man and a woman in these public, scandalous type of situations or splits. And I'm biased. I think generally men insert. Men typically get the short end of the stick. Typically.
What? I think right now in that specific situation, he's not getting enough of the stick. Like, I think he needs more of the stick. It's like he's the one that's coming between all these people.
You don't think?
No.
They say typically, not always.
I don't think guys get the short end of the stick. I think guys, like, you hear so many stories about men like getting fought over by two girls that were friends before, or like them getting away with murder and like the two like women fighting over it, or losing the friendship over it. I mean, this is tales all the time. It happened to someone close to us. She was dating somebody for years and found out he was married with kids. And then another friend that was...
Tell me after.
Yeah, I will. And then another friend that was dating somebody, and then in California had a whole other girlfriend. And it's like...
Oh, yeah.
It's like they don't get enough of the stick. Like, they just get away with murder a lot of the times. So I don't agree with you. You're just not that kind of guy. So you're not thinking like that. Your problem is that you want to like build apps in the basement all night long. Like that's your issue.
Why is that an issue?
Because it's a weird issue.
It's not weird.
Okay.
I
think this is like a real growing epidemic, by the way, that we should discuss. Men who think that they are app coders and builders that actually aren't, but are addicted to Claude and think that they can just like build these multi-million-dollar apps and then spend hours all night long, can't wake up in the morning.
I wake up.
You wake up, but you're exhausted. I'm like, let's go.
Listen, there's a big difference between vibe coding and using Claude code as a tool to code.
What does vibe coding mean?
Like you go onto a platform like Lovable and you just say, hey, here, build me this website.
What's Lovable?
It's a relatively new tech platform where you can build websites or apps with just simple commands like build me this.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm building, I mean, I've been working at it for a month and a half at this point. It is way more intelligent and complicated and involves my brain power of how things are wired together. And it's not just like a simple build me this. The funny thing is, you know why I started building this thing? I was trying to build you like just a basic analytics thing.
Oh, it's me. It's my fault that you started spending all your time building apps.
No, I'm not saying it's your fault.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just funny. And then I'm starting to do it. I'm like, wait. And then I realized the potential. And then I was just down the rabbit hole. And, as far as it's not even a vice, you're framing it as if it's a vice. And I see your point.
It is a vice. You have a real job and kids.
And I do my job.
And then you're up all night.
Yeah, but I don't require that much sleep. So it's like better than playing video games, which I haven't done in
basically
years.
It's your version of video game.
Yes.
It's literally your version of a video game.
Yes, but there's a big difference. You can actually produce something.
Uh-huh.
When I sell this app for $30 million.
Let's see. I mean, from your lips to God's ears, please. Is that what they're saying?
Yes.
Yes. So please.
Yeah.
I would love for that to happen.
I want a public apology.
Fine.
Yeah.
If you sell it, you get a public apology.
Well, I want more than just that.
Okay.
Anyway, we got off track, which is fine. Let's answer some more audience questions.
Fine. I think we should talk about, though, because we brought this up, red, green, yellow flags in marriage. Because I think that's important to talk about.
You want to stay on topic?
Why is that not on topic?
I don't know. We're talking about like the marriage and public eye thing.
It's like, okay.
There's
what else?
Good questions here.
Okay. Ask a question.
I like your idea for just like a dedicated episode about
why. How long can we talk about that? I don't want to keep going on with the reality. Like it's enough.
All right, you don't want to do any more questions?
Like what? What question?
Like now you're pressuring me.
I just think we've hit it. Like I don't know how much longer we can talk about it.
All right. And there's some good questions here, but
say one of them.
What's the weirdest assumption strangers have made about our marriage? No, you don't like that question?
Yeah, it's like enough.
All right, I lost you on this.
Yeah.
Well, so there's a question about when you see stuff online being written about, like if I'm reading something online written about you, like negative stuff, or vice versa. For us, and I'll ask you the question, does that filter into the way that you view me? And how do you think other couples handle that?
I mean, if it's something that is true, like, wow, his hair looks really greasy. I'm like, yeah, you know what? Your gel is not great. Like stuff like that. But if it's just speculation, like he's cheating on you, then I ignore it.
Yeah.
It's not like an easy world to live in, but I also think you have to be grounded. It's so important to just like take yourself out of the comments. Like you cannot live in comments. Anybody can make a comment about anything at any time. Like it's so easy to just be like da 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 and then forget about it. These people that are making comments are making them and then going on with their day. Like they're not like obsessing over the comment they made, but you can as the receiver.
Absolutely.
Like I have, but it's like it's not that deep. I think half the time, most of the time, it's not that deep. Like think about the comments you make on posts all day long. You're scrolling, you see something, oh my God, amazing. Or I don't usually comment negative things because
that's a
not
big,
that kind of person.
That's a very distinct thing.
Right.
Making the choice to go on to somebody's account to make like a scathing negative comment.
I've done that like in defense of people before. Like I've been like, that is gross. Like that's disgusting what you're saying, like things like that. But like even after I do that, I'm not obsessing over it. So I think the difference on the sides of this whole situation is that the people who are making the comment are forgetting about it. And then the person who's receiving the comment are obsessing over it. So that's where it's like not balanced.
It's an interesting perspective. I agree with you. There's a lot of leverage and balance. All it takes is one person. It takes them a minute to write something and it just fucks somebody else's day up for a week. It is helpful sometimes to read comments where I have had this experience where like the greasy hair thing. I'm like, yeah, fuck, my hair like doesn't look good.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, great.
It's like
you were a dick about saying how you said it, but you have a point.
I did like a beauty post. And at the time I was using this eyebrow pencil that like, I don't know, some brand had gifted me and someone commented and was like, that's too dark for the color of your eyebrows. And I was like, oh my God.
That's not like a mean comment.
No, but like sometimes the comments are very helpful.
Yeah.
You know? So it's hard to like, it's hard to decipher the intention of the person making the comment. Like, are they making it because they're having a bad day and they're trying to be a horrible person and take it out on you, which is human nature? Or are they making it because they're like, oh, I like this person and like, this is just a, little tip that I noticed.
Yeah.
Usually
could decipher just based on the language and the tone. But, they get some of these comment threads just get so out of hand. And some of these, like the Bravo podcasts, like
mean,
are vicious.
Vicious.
There's one in particular who I'm thinking of. Just
really
like
vicious
dicks.
And really unfair.
Yeah.
I actually was upset about their podcast for a very, very long time. And I'm like, I still think about it sometimes. And it's funny because when I see them in person, I'm like, why are you doing that to me? And they're like, oh no.
You're like, no, it's in good fun. It's like,
it's not fun.
But it's not fun. Like there's a line between being funny and continuing down with like mean things.
Like horrible, like character assassination things.
Right.
That are just not accurate. Like we're here for entertainment too. And like, we're here to be fun and cause shit and like, then make up. And like, that's the whole show. But when you get these kind of really awful, like mean comments that like they can destroy your week. Like it's hard. Like we're human.
Yeah. That's the thing I think people forget is people in reality TV are human beings.
Yeah.
They, you build a tolerance to it.
Yeah.
Certainly. I know you have.
It's really helpful. One thing that I'll say is like hanging out with people that are in this world. That's been obviously everybody knows I'm very close with Lindsay. So like I call her all the time and I'm like, how do I deal with this? Da-da-da. I mean, she's a veteran. That girl is like, she can withstand anything. So she's a really helpful person to talk to because she's also like has such a big background in PR. She understands how it all works and she's very level-headed about it. And I'm like more emotional and I'm very sensitive and like I get really like riled up if I feel like someone's upset or, like obviously I'll stir shit up, but then once I do, I'm like, oh, did I hurt their feelings, you know? Whereas Lindsay's like, who cares? Like, get over it. It's not a big deal. And I need that. Like, you're like that too. You're more like balanced about things. But I think that is really helpful. And I think that goes for any like industry or any sort of issue that you're dealing with, like finding community. Like if you're having issues with your husband, talking to other people that are having issues with their husband, or if you're going through a divorce, talking to other people that are going through divorce. Like if you're going through like a really hard time figuring out what you want to do next with your life, and you know, you've been stay-at-home mom and you want to go back to work, finding a group of people that are also like, I think where we're at right now in this like digital world, people are becoming far like more and more separated.
It's tribalism. But
like community and like finding your people to talk through things is literally the most important thing.
I agree.
You know?
There is a double-edged sword aspect to it where you have to be careful about not letting your group or community turn into an echo chamber. Like you need people that will be real with you and keep
and then I actually think that like that's a good point. And I actually think that that is something I talk about a lot in terms of like marriages or relationships. And that's like when you have that balance in a relationship, that's a green flag, right? Like
nicely done with the segue.
I was talking to my sister-in-law, your brother's wife, about this, where like I'm the organized type A, right? One in the relationship, and you're like the more relaxed, like balanced, whatever. And she's like, it's so funny. I was at dinner with all my girlfriends and they're all like talking about, oh, my husband like leaves his this on the floor and picks up, I have to like order the groceries. And she's like, and I'm like, sorry guys, that's not me. And because that's your brother. So it's like, there's always one in the relationship that balances the other, but it would be really hard to have two of the exact same personality. Like I definitely get more in my head about things. I'm like, you know, I'm like an empath and I have younger siblings. And so like, I'm always worried about what everyone's feeling and this and that. And whenever I bring that up to you, you're like, everyone's fine. Like everything's okay. You need to calm down. And I think, could you imagine if we both were like that?
No. And the inverse too. Imagine if you were as laid back as me.
No.
I don't think
nothing would get done.
Like that. Yeah.
Nothing would get done at all.
No, I'm agreeing.
Waiting for you to be like, no, some things would get done.
Yeah, but I'm not going to be like, of course some things would get done, but
not on time.
On the bigger picture. There's I think we have a good dynamic with this, and there's people, you know, like I don't want to say impulsive because that's not the right word, but maybe a partially impulsive, but you're like, all right, let's do this, do that. And like, it's like, do it now. Which I have a little bit of that.
You're a procrastinator.
Well, that's not what I was going to say.
Well, you are.
But sure, I do have procrastination issues. What I was going to say was you'll have ideas or you'll want to do something. And my kind of MO is, okay, let's be methodical about it. Let's think about the different things that this impacts and how this works into like an overall strategy, and then we'll bounce ideas and then do it. But I think if we're both just like impulsive, like do, there would be no check and balance on each other, and one needs the other.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think so. And I think that it's a good something to think about when you're getting into a relationship.
So red flag tied to what you're saying is when couples don't put boundaries on each other. So, for example, if a guy is always saying yes to his wife and never challenging her, or vice versa.
Like, give an example.
Like, well, I guess the overarching thought is when couples don't challenge each other, I think that's a red flag. If you're with somebody who's not challenging you and just goes along with anything that you want to do without ever questioning or saying, no, I don't agree with this, or maybe we do it this way, and they just go along.
Right, because they don't want to deal with.
Yeah, whatever the reason. Usually you don't want to deal with it. And
right.
Fine, whatever. I think that's actually a red flag, is saying yes to everything that your spouse or girlfriend or boyfriend, whoever, wants to do.
Right. Maybe they just want to do though all the things that
Come on.
I don't know. That's an interesting one. I never thought about that.
You haven't?
Not really. Maybe because you say no all the time.
Your dad, think about what your dad used to say. Hello, frère.
Right.
It's like you're a poodle.
Right.
And
Not like
I
saying,
think you would probably be turned off if I was just yesing you all the time.
Yeah, but what do you mean by yesing? Like in what way? I don't know what you mean.
I'm trying to think of a good example. So if we got into a tiff
I have a sip.
or a fight, right?
Uh-huh.
And well, I guess getting into a fight means that there is friction and combativeness. Imagine we never fought.
That's just not normal.
Right. But
You're saying like relationships where one is avoiding any conflict.
yeah, that's one example. Or if there is friction, if there's a fight, and just, let's say I just caved immediately, like, sorry, you're right. Like, then that's it. I didn't challenge you and say, well, I may not have been perfect in this situation, but I want you to know that what you did, I really didn't appreciate because of X, Y, Z. And whether or not the resolution happens right then or after the fact, when you've had time to, consider and we both have cooler heads, if I don't challenge you and say, well, yeah, but what you did wasn't cool, I would just be caving all the time and being like, yeah, you're right. It was my fault. I'm sorry. And that was,
Got it.
and that was like the MO.
Got it. No, that's not healthy because then you build so much resentment and one day just completely blow up. So you're saying like if one person is doing that in the relationship, that is a red flag. I agree.
And it goes, I think, in another context, if you didn't challenge me to do better with certain things, like
Right.
with work or
Right. And that's a big
keeping
one.
up with my friends, which I'm
That's a
not
big
that
one.
great at,
Right.
you constantly challenge me.
Yeah.
And I like that.
Yeah.
It makes me a better person.
Right.
You make me better.
Ah, I know, by the way.
Yeah, I know you know. You remind me. But I don't need to be reminded because I know it. And when you're not challenging each other, I don't think you're making the other person better.
Right.
And then what's
I
the
agree
point?
with that.
Like, what's the
I
point?
think it's like there's something about when you're in a relationship and the other person can call you on your shit and not be afraid to do that. I think that's what you're saying. Like,
yes.
you should be able, and then this goes back to exactly what I was talking about like these scandals and shit. It's like, if you can't be somebody who has not outgrown high school behavior, where you can't just like own your shit and have someone call you on your shit or be like, I did this, I'm fucked up. It's the same exact thing. It's like, then you are not an evolved person. It's the same thing as in a relationship. When you're in a relationship and someone can say to you, what you just did wasn't okay. Or if the person can come and be like, what I just did was bad. I understand that. I am saying it to you. Like, we do that all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. But if it's a red flag in a friendship, it's a red flag in a relationship. Like, having somebody that just completely will fight what they did, or even if it was wrong, down to like till the end of time, is not an evolved person. And I actually think a dangerous and insecure person,
Wait, can you say that again? I just want to make sure you're saying somebody who will fight what
Like,
they
the way
themselves
you're
did, or
saying-
not challenge like a friend?
Both. Like, I love a friend that challenges, right? I love a friend that's like, I don't think what you did was actually cool, and you should rethink that. Like, I've had friends do that to me, both like on shows and beyond that, where I've been like, wow, I never even thought about it. And what, you're actually right. Like, that was kind of messed up. So that's important as its own thing, but also as like a yellow or whatever red flag in a friendship and a relationship. If somebody can't come and not like own their stuff, because I hate that saying. I think it's so trite and like annoying. But if someone can't come up and be like honest about a situation and say,
I fucked up.
the truth is I've been doing this, like how
In real time, you're saying?
yeah, like how that whole thing, we'll just bring up like the Bitcoin, like how you came up to me like, this is the truth. Like I was trying to make this go away, but I was doing it and I wasn't doing it right and I wasn't telling you and I wasn't being honest and blah, 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 blah. And you just like came to me with the information without me having to like drag it out of you. Like, I think that shows maturity. And if your friend is not doing that, like if a friend is not coming to you and being like, the truth is I've been talking to your like I'm making shit up. I've been talking to your ex-husband. He's been a distant friend of mine. I've been talking to him. I felt bad. It probably was wrong. I probably should have talked to you about it. Or I'm doing this actively and you should know that. Like, that's an evolved person. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes. And I fully agree.
And I think that goes for relationships. It goes for marriages. It goes for partnerships. It goes for friendships. And like, if you're not a friend that does that, or if you're not a partner that does that, it's a dangerous relationship.
I would say yellow flag until it gets to a certain point, because people can be evolved, but not perfect. And so
that's true.
If you don't say something in the moment, in real time, yellow flag. If you just continue not to say it, and then it's like it comes out in this whole thing, like red flag. But a lot of times it's hard to communicate. I speak from experience. It's hard to communicate in real time, but the evolution comes from, at some point, you just being honest about it. And I think that's what makes an evolved person.
Yeah.
And so then it's not a red flag anymore.
Right.
Right?
Yes. No one's perfect. People will make mistakes. People will not own up to things, like, obviously. But I think it's like an important, okay, there's one time it happens, you move on, like you learn. But I think if people can't really outgrow that behavior, then they're not growing up. Like I know it sounds silly that I keep being like you're in high school, but it really is that simple. It's like you grow up, you grow into yourself, and you know how to communicate with people and be honest. And if you cannot grow up and communicate with people and be honest, then you're still a child.
The irony is, there is such a catharsis in being honest. And even especially when it's something that what you're being honest about is something that you may not have done well or did wrong. When you just open up about it, yeah, there might be like a really shitty negative reaction you get from it in the moment, but it is such an unburdening. And when that becomes just your normal practice, you just feel so much lighter. Doesn't mean you're perfect in what you're doing. Like, people are going to make mistakes, but to have to hold that kind of shit in is its own set of stress.
100%.
And I know many people experience it in like many different types of flavors and scenarios. And that's the kind of shit that just eats at people.
Okay. And I know we're like almost wrapping up, but it's really interesting because I'm thinking about things that like happen in relationships that aren't, salacious or whatever. But then it's like, when you think about cheating in particular, why do you think people must do it because they like the thrill of it? It must be beyond
part of it.
You know what I mean? Like, that must be like that there's something missing inside that is not giving them excitement or like happiness, or do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because that's beyond like just being honest and feeling unburdened and holding something in. I'm sure that happens after. But like, if someone's doing that stuff in the moment.
There's probably there are different types of cheating scenarios. So you could have, you're going on a bachelorette party. You're married.
Right.
And it's like you get drunk.
You're just really fucked up.
Which,
is not okay, but it's different. I agree. It's
not
different.
Okay. Then there's the premeditated cheating, where it becomes a recurring thing, especially if it's with the same person. That's an affair. That's not even cheating. That becomes an affair. And then there's the cheating where it's like you're out in your city, your town or whatever, and like you'll just randomly hook up with other people. The different levels of it.
There are definitely different levels.
But at the end of the day, I do think it goes down to a root thing of if you're doing it, no matter what scenario, it's clearly there's something missing.
Right.
Like you and I have been together 15 years.
That's insane.
As far as I know, you've not cheated on me. And I know that you haven't. I don't think I've ever even asked you because I know that you haven't. Right? No, I would like to think that I would know.
Do
But
you now?
but it's like I'm sure we both, and I've never cheated.
It's not worth it to me.
It's not worth it.
That's how I look at it.
And-
also, I wouldn't do that to you because it's just like a horrible thing to do to someone that you care about. It's just a betrayal. I don't like betrayals. I don't like when people betray. I don't like I think like this is the thing. And I feel like I feel this way the same on TV. It's like you can fuck around with someone, right? Like you and I get in the stupidest fights and I've said shit that I've regretted and like you've said stuff that you've regretted and you can like pick on someone and go back and forth and da 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 da. But when it gets like to another level, that's when I'm like, I draw the line.
Yeah, there are lines.
There are lines.
And when you're cheating, you're saying you don't have those lines or boundaries.
I think that's just, unless you have an open marriage and you've discussed it.
Sure, but that's not cheating because it's permissive.
Right. Or unless like, I mean it's nuanced, right? Because like if someone's really horrible to you, like really, but then they're betraying you first. Like if someone, like let's say you're in an abusive relationship and the guy is just so emotionally abusive and you're just looking for someone who like loves you and is nice to you. Like that I feel like is a different situation.
I agree.
You know? Because like, it's like, well, that they betrayed you first in a way.
So let's confine, I think what we're really talking about is like the flippant cheating.
Right.
Flippant cheating. What I was going to say right before this was we've been married 15 years. We go out without each other.
All the time. I'm sure you. I like going out without you.
Yeah, same. I think that's
healthy.
Very healthy.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I know that you're way hotter than I am. So I know that, and you're a girl. So you've definitely been in scenarios or situations where I'm sure guys hit on you many times. Mm-hmm. And I've been in the same, where guys hit on me, where women are obviously expressing interest. Never crosses my mind, be like, oh, maybe I'll cheat.
Right. Maybe I'll do it tonight.
And we've both been out inebriated without each other. I'm sure to a point where we've been, really drunk. I mean, that hasn't happened in years, I'm sure, because we're kids now. But the point is, it's never crossed that line. It's never something that I've ever even entertained in my mind.
Right.
And I doubt you've entertained it legitimately. Not that I'm sure you have like your eye fucking
things, calm down.
As people do, and fine. Once in a while, like that's going to happen. You find somebody attractive. It doesn't cross the line. I don't know about
that. I think that's a little weird.
Not like eye fucking, but like you see a guy, I'm sure there's like a flash you've had with him.
Yeah, okay, like someone's, he's cute. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's normal. Right.
But I'm saying that's like a very binary thing from that to then it's like, let's go back to one of our
No, that's like insane. Can you imagine?
It's crazy.
Can you actually think about that? Like how insane that is?
I know.
And like, you're like on your way to the apartment. Do you ever stop to be like, wow, maybe I shouldn't do this. Like I have children and I have like people are crazy.
And in the suburbs too, it's like even more interesting because you have to drive. And
you have to get in the car. You have to drive to the other person's house. You probably have to be quiet because their family's probably there. Or you have to get a hotel room, which is even another layer and another step. Is it though?
With each other.
You can plan that.
Like a motel, like a cheap motel.
Ew, no.
Yeah.
Okay, no. Like, just no. Okay, right. Well, this was fun.
And we'll catch you guys next time.
Okay.
Can we do like I like these audience questions.
Yeah, well, I'll do an AMA and I'll ask you guys what to talk about next.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us.
Okay.
All right. I like that.
Yeah. You want the rest of this?
Yes.